Did you know that some of R&B's biggest stars have changed so much over the years that fans can barely recognize them today? From Kelly Clarkson, who began gaining weight due to thyroid problems, something she's spoken about publicly, to Christina Aguilera, who said she felt pressure to stay skinny because that was what the music industry expected. Here are the 20 R&B stars that are unrecognizable today. Kelly Clarkson. Kelly Clarkson became famous in 2002 when she won the very first season of American Idol. After her win, she signed with RCA Records and released her debut single, A Moment Like This, which became the best-selling song of the year in the U.S. Her first album, Thankful, came out in 2003 and went straight to #1. While it was influenced by R&B and gospel, her next album, Breakaway, took a turn toward pop rock and became one of the best-selling albums of the 2000s. But as her music career grew, so did the attention on her body. Kelly began gaining weight due to thyroid problems, something she's spoken about publicly. She once joked that her body should be studied by scientists when she dies because of how unusual it is. Clarkson said her weight has affected many parts of her life. Some days, she wakes up and finds her clothes no longer fit because her body can go up or down 2 sizes between morning and lunch. She also revealed that producers of her talk show once told her that her body didn't fit the image they wanted for a host. The criticism from the public and press hurt her deeply, and she never tried to hide it. In 2018, she lost 16 pounds and said she felt healthier, but she never tried to chase an ideal look. In January 2025, Clarkson announced that she had launched her own record label. For the first time in her career, she plans to release music independently. A month later, Live Nation revealed that she would do an 18-show Las Vegas residency called Kelly Clarkson Studio Sessions. Bobby Brown. Bobby Brown became a star at a young age. When he was just 3 years old, he saw his idol James Brown perform live in Boston, and that moment made him want to become a singer. By age 12, he and his childhood friends Michael Bivins and Ricky Bell had formed a group called The Bricks, which later became New Edition. After performing in talent shows around Boston, they got signed and released their first album, Candy Girl, in 1983. The title song, with Bobby singing lead, became a #1 hit on the R&B charts and also top charts in the UK and New Zealand. It was during this period that Bobby's drug use started, and it only got worse from there. By the time his solo career took off, with hits like My Prerogative and Every Little Step, he was already battling addiction. His second album, Don't Be Cruel, made him a household name, and in 1992, he married Whitney Houston. Together, they had a daughter, Bobby Christina. While many blamed Whitney for Bobby's problems, he later admitted he was already using cocaine before they met. After losing both Whitney Houston and his daughter, Bobby Christina, Brown became reclusive. He withdrew from the public eye for a long time. When he finally came back, fans were stunned. He was heavier, quieter, and looked almost unrecognizable. Mariah Carey. Mariah Carey became a pop star in 1990 at just 20 years old and stunned the world with her incredible 5-octave vocal range. Her self-titled debut album turned her into an overnight sensation, and she made history as the only artist to have their first 5 singles hit #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, from Vision of Love to Emotions. As her success continued, Carey dominated the charts throughout the 90s with albums like Music Box and Daydream, then pivoted into a more hip-hop inspired sound after remixing Fantasy with Old Dirty Bastard and going full throttle with Butterfly. In the early years of her career, Carey had a much slimmer frame, but over time, her weight began to fluctuate. Alongside personal struggles and the pressures of fame, Carey battled eating issues and body image concerns. In 2006, after putting on noticeable weight, she was hit with public criticism, with some commentators saying she should stop wearing revealing outfits. But her biggest weight gain came in 2010, when she was pregnant with twins. She developed severe swelling, which made her retain large amounts of fluid, leaving her in extreme discomfort and worsening her body image struggles. though she lost some weight after giving birth. By mid-2017, Mariah's appearance was once again in the spotlight. After photos from a concert surfaced, rumors claimed she had reached 263 pounds. But just a few months later, in October, Carrie shocked everyone. She reappeared, looking drastically slimmer after undergoing weight loss surgery and losing around 30 pounds. Ginuwine. Ginuwine is an American R&B singer who rose to fame in the 1990s. He got his start as part of the Swing Mob, a musical collective and record label based in Rochester, New York, founded by Devontae Swing of Jodeci. That's where he met a powerful group of future stars, including Missy Elliott, Timbaland, Magoo, Static Major, Digital Black, and Tweet. Together, they would shape the sound of 1990s R&B. After Swing Mob disbanded, many of them continued collaborating, and that led to Ginuwine's breakthrough debut album, Ginuwine, The Bachelor, produced by Timbaland. Its lead single, Pony, became a massive hit in 1996, peaking at number 6 on the Billboard Hot 100 and eventually becoming one of the most sampled and recognized R&B tracks of the era. Ginuwine followed up that success with more hits, including Differences in 2001, which reached number 4 on the Hot 100 and topped the R&B charts. But around that same time, tragedy struck his personal life. He lost both of his parents within a single year. He channeled his emotions into music, writing 2 Reasons I Cry, which appeared on his third album, The Life. In 2002, Ginuwine launched his own record label, Bag Entertainment, and made a strong comeback with The Senior in 2003. The album produced several hits, including the top 10 single In Those Jeans and fan favorites like Stingy and Hell Yeah, featuring Birdman. Even though he stayed active in music and continued performing, fans began to notice changes in Ginuwine's appearance over the years. After decades of dancing, touring, and personal battles, the artist who once symbolized sleek appeal started looking totally different. Janet Jackson. Janet Jackson is an American singer, actress, and dancer. She started her music career in the early 1980s, signing her first record deal in 1982. But it was in the mid to late 80s that she really became a star. With albums like Control in 1986 and Rhythm Nation 1814 in 1989, Janet broke out of her family's shadow and became a pop icon all on her own. Working with producers Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, she mixed R&B, pop, funk, and hip-hop in a way that helped shape the sound of a whole generation. By the 1990s, Janet was one of the highest-paid artists in music history. Over the years, Janet's body has gone through many changes, which have made her unrecognizable from her early years. In 2017, after giving birth to her son Isa, Janet gained weight like many women do after pregnancy. 6 weeks after giving birth, she started working with her trainer, Paulette Siblis, to prepare for her world tour. In 2022, while touring, Janet reportedly gained about 75 pounds. She later dropped around 70 pounds in a short period, but eventually regained some of that weight. Reflecting on the ups and downs of her body, Janet once said, "I could not believe how big I was, how heavy I really was. I would see myself in the mirror, but I wouldn't look too often. I didn't want to get used to that image." Her last studio album came out in 2015, but Janet isn't done performing. On August 21, 2024, she announced a brand new Las Vegas residency called Janet Jackson, Las Vegas, which kicked off on December 30th. It did so well that on January 14, 2025, she added 6 more shows for May. Ne-Yo. Ne-Yo is an American singer, songwriter, and producer who became one of the biggest R&B stars of the 2000s. He started out with the stage name Go-Go while attending the Las Vegas Academy, where he joined an R&B group called Envy. The group appeared on Showtime at the Apollo and MTV's The Cut, but Ne-Yo's real break came later as a behind-the-scenes songwriter. For years, he quietly worked in the background, writing songs for artists like Tidra Moses, Christina Milian, and Youngstown. But none of those tracks brought him major attention. That all changed when he wrote Let Me Love You for Mario. The song went #1 and stayed there for 9 weeks. In 2006, Ne-Yo released his debut album, In My Own Words, through Def Jam. Thanks to the success of his single, So Sick, the album debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200 and went platinum. The follow-up singles When You're Mad and Sexy. Love also charted well, proving he wasn't just a one-hit wonder. A year later, he repeated the success with his second album, Because of You, which also hit #1. Its lead single peaked at #2 on the Hot 100, and the album was eventually certified platinum. However, his sound was changing, and so was the industry. By the late 2000s, fans started noticing something different. The soft, soulful Ne-Yo, who once poured emotion into songs like Sexy Love, began leaning more into pop and dance. Some loved it, others didn't recognize him anymore. He opened a studio called Carrington House in Atlanta and started his own label, Compound Entertainment. Over time, Compound grew into a full label, signing artists like Ravon, Adrian Balin, and Chanel. Britney Spears. Britney Spears is an American singer and dancer widely recognized as the Princess of Pop. She played a pivotal role in reviving teen pop in the late 1990s and early 2000s, ultimately selling over 150 million records worldwide and becoming one of the best-selling music artists of all time. After marrying dancer Kevin Federline in 2004, Britney's life quickly turned chaotic. Following 2 pregnancies and a battle with depression, Spears experienced significant weight gain, making her look a bit unrecognizable. After her performance at the MTV Video Music Awards, headlines labeled her fat and out of shape. The criticism didn't end there. Even during her 2011 Femme Fatale tour, Spears was still being publicly ridiculed for her body. Even behind closed doors, the pressure was even more brutal. According to friend Jacqueline Butcher, Spears' father, Jamie, told her after one of her psychiatric holds, "You're fat. Daddy's going to get you on a diet and a trainer." In 2014, she began training with fitness expert Tony Martinez. This move helped her regain her physical form and rebuild her confidence. During these periods, Spears stopped singing and released music occasionally. In 2023, Spears released her long-awaited memoir, The Woman in Me, which recounted her rise to fame, personal struggles, and the reality of living under a conservatorship. The book sold over 1.1 million copies in the U.S. and 2.4 million globally within its first week. In early 2024, reports emerged that artists like Charlie XX and Julia Michaels were being recruited to write new music for Spears. However, she publicly denied any return to the music industry, stating that she had no intention of releasing new material. She did, however, reveal that she had written over 20 songs for other artists in the previous 2 years. Pink. Pink is an American singer and songwriter. She first entered the music scene as part of the R&B girl group Choice, which signed with LaFace Records in 1995 but disbanded before releasing a full project. Her solo debut, Can't Take Me Home, was a commercial success, going double platinum and producing 2 Billboard Hot 100 Top 10 hits, There You Go and Most Girls. Pink's mainstream breakthrough came the following year with her Grammy-winning collaboration Lady Marmalade and the release of her second album, Misunderstood, which sold over 13 million copies worldwide. Over the years, Pink's image has evolved. After a red carpet appearance in 2015 sparked a wave of online criticism, Pink responded unapologetically, saying she eats well and works hard and isn't bothered by fluctuating weight. She said, "I eat a lot on tour because I work out 4.5 hours a day. I don't change my eating when I get home. Get really fat and happy, that's the plan." Her husband, former motocross racer Carey Hart, has also publicly defended her, insisting that she still looks amazing. Pink no longer maintains the ultra-lean physique she had early in her career. In 2023, she released her 9th studio album, Trustfall, which debuted at #1 in both the UK and Australia and at #2 in the US. Usher. Usher is an American singer, songwriter, dancer, and actor. He started singing at the age of 10, joining a small R&B group called New Beginning in his hometown. The group recorded an album, but it didn't get much attention. Usher's mom eventually pulled him out of the group because the experience wasn't the best. At 13, Usher got another shot. He met a man named A.J. Alexander, who had worked with Bobby Brown. A.J. believed in Usher and began taking him to different talent shows, even having him sing in parking lots just to get noticed. One of those performances landed him on Star Search, a popular talent show at the time. From there, everything changed. After seeing him perform, a record executive arranged a meeting with L.A. Reid, the co-founder of LaFace Records. Usher sang End of the Road by Boyz II Men, and that was all it took. L.A. Reid signed him on the spot. Usher's first big break came in 1993 when he recorded Call Me a Mac for the movie Poetic Justice. A year later, he dropped his first album. He was only 15, singing about grown-up topics like love, which made some people uncomfortable. The album didn't do as well as expected, and the label wasn't sure if they should keep him. He teamed up with producer Jermaine Dupri, and together they worked on his second album, My Way. That's when things really took off. The hit single You Make Me Wanna topped the UK charts, and Nice and Slow became his first #1 song in the US. Suddenly, the kid with the smooth voice was turning into an R&B sensation. Over the years, Usher dropped hit after hit. He sold millions of albums, won countless awards, and built a career that few could match. In 2023, Usher announced he would headline the Super Bowl halftime show. On the same day, he released his 9th studio album, Coming Home, which debuted at #2 on the Billboard charts. If you are enjoying this video, appreciate it by giving it a thumbs up, and if you have not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Jessica Simpson. Jessica Simpson is an American singer, actress, and fashion designer. She grew up singing in church choirs and had a powerful voice even as a child. At just 17, she signed a record deal with Columbia Records. 2 years later, in 1999, she released her first album, Sweet Kisses. The album sold 2 million copies in the U.S. and gave her a big hit with the emotional ballad, I Wanna Love You Forever, which climbed into the top 3 on the Billboard charts. As Jessica grew up, so did her image. Over the years, Jessica would go on to sell over 30 million albums worldwide, making her one of the more successful pop stars of her generation. When she first came onto the scene, people couldn't stop talking about her looks, especially her small frame, toned legs, and curvy figure. But her body became an even bigger topic later on, especially after one moment in 2009 that made headlines everywhere. During a performance, Jessica wore a pair of high-waisted jeans that the media nicknamed mom jeans. The photos went viral, and suddenly, her weight, not her music, was the focus of conversation. Things got even harder when Jessica became pregnant with her first child, Maxwell. She gained around 70 pounds during that pregnancy, and paparazzi often caught her working hard to lose the weight afterward. After spending some time away from music to focus on family and her growing fashion business, Jessica made her musical comeback in February 2025 with a song called Use My Heart Against Me. A month later, on March 21st, she released her first extended play titled Nashville Canyon, Part 1, Mary Blige. Mary J. Blige is an American singer, songwriter, rapper, actress, and entrepreneur, often referred to as the Queen of Hip-Hop Soul and Queen of R&B. Her journey began in 1988 when she was discovered by Andre Harrell, the founder of Uptown Records. At just 18 years old, Mary was given the opportunity to record, and in 1992, she released her debut album, What's the 411? This album was a game-changer, blending R&B with hip-hop in a way that had never been done before, helping to shape mainstream pop culture. The remix album in 1993 was groundbreaking, becoming the first album by a singer to feature a rapper on every track. The success of What's the 411 marked the beginning of a legendary career. But it wasn't an easy road. Mary faced deep personal struggles, including battles with addiction and an abusive relationship, which greatly affected her looks. Her second album, My Life, released in 1994, captured her pain and heartbreak in a way that resonated with fans everywhere. The album became a classic and cemented her place in music history, ranking among Rolling Stone's 500 greatest albums of all time. Despite the challenges she faced, including dealing with addiction and a tough personal life, Mary kept pushing forward. She found a way to rise above it all, becoming sober and taking control of her life. In 2023, Mary continued to show her versatility. She teamed up with Mariah Carey for a remix of It's a Wrap and released a deluxe version of A Merry Christmas. Later that year, she dropped the single Still Believe in Love. In 2024, Mary J. Blige released her 15th studio album, Gratitude. Christina Aguilera. Christina Aguilera is an American singer, songwriter, actress, and TV personality. She first appeared on the all-new Mickey Mouse Club in the early 90s, and after that, she recorded the song Reflection for the movie Mulan in 1998. Soon after, she signed a deal with RCA Records. In 1999, Christina became a huge star with her debut album, Christina Aguilera, which had 3 #1 hits on the U.S. Billboard Hot 100. During that period, Christina was known as one of the most beautiful women in the world, but in 2012, things began to change. She gained weight, and it became a topic of conversation. Christina later explained that for years she felt pressure to stay skinny because that was what the music industry expected. She opened up about her decision to leave The Voice, saying, "During the promotion of my album Stripped in 2002, I got tired of being a skinny white girl. I'm Ecuadorian, but people only saw me as a skinny, blue-eyed white girl. So I changed. The next time my label saw me, I was heavier, darker, and covered in piercings." She also talked about how her label didn't like the changes. She said, "They called an emergency meeting when I gained about 15 pounds during my Strip tour with Justin Timberlake. They told me my weight was causing problems for the production and musical directors." Despite the pressure to lose weight, Christina decided to embrace her new look. Fantasia. Fantasia is an American singer and actress. She became famous in 2004 after her amazing performance of the song Summertime from Porgy and Bess on the 3rd season of American Idol. She won that season, and after her victory, Fantasia made history by becoming the 2nd artist after Lauryn Hill to have a debut single, I Believe, enter the Billboard Hot 100 at #1. The song went on to be the best-selling single in the United States that year. Her first album, Free Yourself, went platinum. The album earned her 3 Grammy nominations, including one for Best Traditional R&B Vocal Performance for her version of Summertime. Fantasia continued to release music. She had another big hit with When I See You from her second album, Fantasia, and in 2007, she recorded a duet with the legendary Aretha Franklin called Put You Up on Game. She also released albums like Back to Me and Side Effects of You, both of which reached #2 on the Billboard 200. In March 2019, Fantasia shared on Instagram that her 6th album, Sketchbook, was finished. The album would include 14 songs and feature artists like Meghan Trainor, T-Pain, T.I., Jasmine Sullivan, and Brandy. Her first single from the album, Enough, came out on May 3, 2019, and it became her 12th top 10 hit on the Billboard Adult R&B Songs chart. Later that year, she recorded the theme song, Shine, for the Tamron Hall talk show. In December 2023, she reunited with fellow American Idol alum Jennifer Hudson on Jennifer's Talk Show. Monica. Monica is an American singer, rapper, songwriter, and actress. She grew up in College Park, Georgia, and started performing as a child. By the time she was 10, she joined a traveling gospel choir. In 1993, Monica signed with producer Dallas Austin's label, Rowdy Records, and became known after releasing her first album, Miss Thang. Her second album, The Boy Is Mine, was a huge success. It became her best-selling album and included 3 #1 hits on the Billboard Hot 100, The Boy Is Mine with Brandy, The First Night, and Angel of Mine. However, Monica's career slowed down in 1999 due to problems in her relationship with her ex-boyfriend, Jarvis Weems. In July 2000, they visited the gravesite of Weems' brother, who had died in a car accident 2 years earlier. Tragically, Weems took his own life that day. Monica later said in an interview, "You replay that situation over and over. Maybe if I had said this, or if I would have done that." She explained that it was something she could never change. After this, Monica left Arista and Rowdy Records and joined Clive Davis's new label, J Records, in 2000. Her third album, All Eyes on Me, was only released in Japan and didn't do well, but her next album, After the Storm, became her first to top the U.S. Billboard 200 chart. Since then, she has evolved well in the industry, releasing several hit songs. Monica's upcoming R&B album, MDA, as well as a country album called Open Road, are both expected to be released later in the year. Tevin Campbell. Tevin Campbell is an American singer and songwriter who started performing gospel music at his local church when he was very young. In 1988, after auditioning for jazz musician Bobby Humphrey, Campbell was signed to Warner Brothers Records. The following year, in 1989, he worked with famous music producer Quincy Jones and sang lead vocals on the song Tomorrow for Jones's album Back on the Block. That same year, Campbell released his debut album, Tevin, which went platinum. The album included his biggest hit, Tell Me What You Want Me to Do, which reached number 6 on the Billboard Hot 100. Gorshird. Other popular songs from the album included Alone with You and Goodbye. In 1993, Campbell released his second album, I'm Ready, which went double platinum. It featured 2 big songs written by Babyface, Can We Talk, which reached number 9 on the Hot 100 and hit number 1 on the R&B charts, and the title track, I'm Ready, which also reached number 9 on the Hot 100. However, his third album, Back to the World, didn't do as well as his first 2 albums, both commercially and critically. His fourth album, simply titled Tevin Campbell, also performed poorly on the charts. In July 1999, Campbell made headlines when he was arrested for soliciting a lewd act from an undercover officer during a sting operation in Van Nuys, California. After this incident, Campbell stayed out of the public eye for a while and didn't make any public appearances until 2004. In 2005, Campbell made a comeback by performing in the Broadway musical Hairspray, where he played the character Seaweed J. Stubbs. He later took on this role in the Australian productions of the musical in Melbourne and Sydney and continued working with the show until 2011. Since the success of his first 2 albums, Campbell hasn't released music that has reached the same level of popularity. He has shifted his focus more toward acting in TV and film. Ashanti. Ashanti is an American singer, songwriter, and actress. She was discovered as a teenager by record producer Irv Gotti and signed to his label Murder Inc. Records in 2002. That same year, Ashanti made guest appearance on 2 big singles, What's Love by Fat Joe and Always on Time by J. Rule. Both songs were big hits, with Always on Time reaching number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 and What's Love hitting number 2. This made Ashanti the first female artist to hold the top 2 spots on the chart at the same time, with her debut single, Foolish, joining Always on Time at the top. Foolish was the lead single from Ashanti's first album, Ashanti. Even though the album received mixed reviews, it debuted at number 1 on the Billboard 200, went triple platinum, and won Best Contemporary R&B Album at the 45th Annual Grammy Awards. The album also produced 2 top 40 hits on the Billboard Hot 100. Ashanti continued to build her career, co-writing and providing background vocals for Jennifer Lopez's 2002 hit, Ain't It Funny, which also reached number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100. Her second album, Chapter 2, also reached number 1 on the Billboard 200 and was certified platinum by the Recording Industry Association of America. In February 2024, Ashanti was featured on Jermaine Dupri's single, This Lil Game We Play, which also featured Nelly and Juicy J. Sade. Sade. is a Nigerian-British singer and songwriter, best known as the lead singer of her band, also called Sade. She's one of the most successful British female artists of all time and has inspired many singers who came after her. In the early 1980s, she joined a band called Pride. Her talent stood out, and she eventually formed her own group with a few members of Pride. They named the band Sade and signed a record deal with Epic Records in 1983. In 1984, Sade released their first album, Diamond Life. It was a huge success, becoming one of the best-selling albums of the time and the biggest debut album by a British female singer. That same year, the band released their second album, Promise. The band kept making music, releasing Stronger Than Pride in 1988 and Love Deluxe in 1992. In 1996, Sade stepped away from the spotlight after having a child. She's known for being very private, staying out of the public eye. Her friends even joke and call her Howie, short for Howard Hughes, because she disappears from the media so often. She rarely gives interviews and doesn't like being in the spotlight, especially after seeing how the media sometimes twists her words or makes up stories. Still, fans are always thrilled when she returns. In 2018, Sade and her band reunited to record the soft and emotional song Flower of the Universe for Disney's A Wrinkle in Time. Director Ava DuVernay said she didn't think Sade would say yes, but was amazed when she did. Later that same year, Sade recorded The Big Unknown for the movie Widows. Director Steve McQueen said Sade agreed to do it because she had been deeply moved by the original Widows TV series years earlier. Rumors say Sade may be working on a new album, which would be the follow-up to their last one, Soldier of Love. Michelle Williams. Michelle Williams is an American singer and actress who became famous in the early 2000s as part of Destiny's Child, one of the biggest girl groups in music history. The group sold over 100 million records around the world, and more than 60 million of those were with Michelle as part of the trio, alongside Beyoncé and Kelly Rowland. While in the group, Michelle earned many awards, including a Grammy and a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. While Destiny's Child took a break between 2001 and 2003, Michelle started working on her solo career. She released her first album, Heart to Yours, in 2002. It was a gospel album that went straight to #1 on the U.S. gospel charts and became the top-selling gospel album of that year. Billboard even named her the 5th biggest gospel artist of the year, and she won a Mobo Award for Best Gospel Act. In 2004, she followed up with another gospel album called Do You Know? After Destiny's Child officially disbanded in 2006, Michelle changed her sound. She released her first pop album, Unexpected, in 2008. It included songs like We Break the Dawn and The Greatest, which became a #1 hit on the U.S. dance charts. Over time, Michelle started doing more work outside of music. In 2022, she took part in The Masked Singer in the UK, performing as Rockhopper. She later competed on the Australian version of the same show as Microphone. With these appearances, Michelle became the first celebrity to perform on 3 different versions of The Masked Singer. That same year, she also starred in the Lifetime movie Wrath, a 7 Deadly Sins story. In March 2024, Michelle was cast in the musical Death Becomes Her. She played the role of Viola Van Horn, based on the character Lyle from the original film. Brandy. Brandy is an American singer, songwriter, actress, dancer, and model. She grew up in Carson, California, and started her music career singing backup for teen music groups. In 1993, she signed a record deal with Atlantic Records, and by 1994, she had released her first album, Brandy. The album was a big hit, selling 6 million copies around the world. While her music was doing well, Brandy also became a TV star. She played the lead role in the hit sitcom Moesha, which made her a household name. In 1997, she got even more attention for playing Cinderella in a special TV movie. and the next year she appeared in the horror film I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. In 1998, Brandy teamed up with fellow R&B star Monica for the song The Boy Is Mine. It was a huge success, winning a Grammy Award and becoming one of the best-selling duets by two women in music history. That same year, she released her second album, Never Say Never, which sold a massive 16 million copies worldwide. Even after many years in the spotlight, Brandy is still making waves. On February 4, 2024, she performed at the Grammy Awards. One of the songs nominated that night, Burna Boy's Sitting on Top of the World, used a sample from Brandy's own song, Top of the World. Faith Evans. Faith Evans is an American R&B singer, songwriter, and actress who first made a name for herself in the 1990s. She started out singing backup for R&B stars like Al B, Sure, and Christopher Williams. By the time she was just 20 years old, she had signed with Puff Daddy's Bad Boy Records, becoming the label's very first female artist in 1994. Faith's big break came when she was featured, though not credited, on the Notorious B.I.G.'s hit song, One More Chance. Soon after, she dropped her debut album Faith in 1995. Then, in 1997, Faith sang alongside 112 on Puff Daddy's song I'll Be Missing You, a tribute to the Notorious B.I.G. after his death. The song became a massive hit. It was the first hip-hop song to debut at #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, and it went on to win a Grammy Award for Best Rap Performance. Faith followed that success with two more albums, Keep the Faith in 1998 and Faithfully in 2001. Both albums earned her more praise and climbed high on the charts. But by 2003, Faith decided to leave Bad Boy Records and signed with Capitol Records. Her next album, The First Lady, was one of her most successful. It reached #2 on the Billboard 200 and hit #1 on the R&B hip-hop chart. Later that year, she released a holiday album called A Faithful Christmas, but it didn't perform as well and ended up being her last album on a major label. After taking some time away from the spotlight, Faith returned with Something About Faith in 2010, which she released independently. Which of these stars can you recognize from their early days? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on our latest content.